and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dadley Boyz of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review last night's AEW Dynamite and all the fallout from All Out.
Yeah, correct.
One more. Yeah.
I don't know where to start or where to think. I'm looking at that Arthur Ashe show and thinking, please, people, buy more tickets, because I'm really excited about that lineup, and I want the atmosphere to match my excitement. There were some very convoluted story beats on this show that I imagine a lot of people had a few issues with. It's weird. I'm all over the show, all over the shop with my thoughts, because the best way I can condense it is that there is something happening in AEW right now that looks set to be the next big sort of angle that is the sort of the scope that if you don't like it, you can't really like the television program at large. And it feels to me like this thing that you can't ignore feels to me like a good version of something that I philosophically do not like. And I'll elaborate as we get to it.
Yeah, I didn't love or hate this episode, but that probably, we'll get into it and maybe I'll like it more as we talk it back through. But like, it has to scan as a bit of a disappointment. We talked about the follow-up to the Hangman Page character, the follow-up to the follow-up to the John Moxley character shift, all that sort of stuff. But really what that is a follow-up to a pay-per-view and a follow-up within AEW. And I think I share Sidgwick's excitement. I think that was excitement. I think I share it for some of the big stuff to come. I cannot say I was particularly moved by this one. And I wanted to be. There were elements I liked, but I did want.
There's one thing I was very excited to come into work to talk about.
I said yesterday that, and I'm not comparing these things, but Sidge's February 2020, my summer of 2021, I was wanting to suggest that August 2024 could have its own little thing as like for two shows to back it up, but also vibes.
Yeah.
When the vibes are good, it kind of doesn't really matter the minutiae of the card, and then every week we sit and we talk about the minutiae, and that's a bit of a problem sometimes. This didn't feel aligned with the vibes I was describing.
Yeah.
This Dynamite didn't quite sort of have that. Everything's cooking it. Like the energy is like that. That was what I felt was lacking more than any one sort of individual storyline or big bang or anything like that. It wasn't quite what I was after this one, I don't think. I'm equally excited for Arthur Ashe. It hasn't tempered my excitement and enthusiasm for that.
Yeah. I'm really excited about Grand Slam. I'm apprehensive about the next few months, where previously I was really up for it. So I will let everything play out. Yeah. Also, I didn't think of a song for Ladies' Night, so that's back of my old head. I'll have to just do Hetfield. You'll have to learn to love it.
I already do. Arthur out the ash.
Good. Not as vulgar as where I thought you would go.
I said that Arthur Gash Stadium.
Either
that was where my head was at, I got to be honest.
Horses for courses. So the show opens. I did like the look of all this, particularly the bit where Mox is cutting the promo and they're just wheeling Danielson past him, it seems. It's the footage of Moxley and the BCC leaving All Out.
Music was good here.
Yeah.
Usually, I just want to say this, I'm sorry for stepping on a dick, because I will forget this. Usually I don't like or need a musical accompaniment to this sort of thing. Like sometimes stillness is the move.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it feel more eerie, that the silence is almost amplified. It feels like a noise. But no, this is really cool.
Yeah, it worked really well. He's saying he hopes people didn't enjoy what he did to Bryan Danielson, because he didn't. He says Danielson doesn't have the stomach for this any longer. 2 years ago, they made a commitment for something real, something that would last for years after they've gone, an idea that couldn't be destroyed, not for money or recognition. He called him Mr. Patience, Mr. Empathy, the greatest man he's ever known. All he sees backstage is egos and jealousy when he looks around. Our mentor, who I think he called his lordship at one point, called Danielson the perfect wrestler, but he saw himself in Moxley, and he told him that guys like us, we are who we are, and we can't pretend to be anything else. He's no villain or hero. He is, however, the one true king of these lands. We tried Danielson's way, says Mox, but diplomacy has failed, and now he chooses war. And that's where we see footage of Danielson being rushed from the ring through the backstage area whilst this is all going on.
An incredible promo, but God, just tease me a little bit, you know. That was the hook for the show. And I'm not like, you don't conflate yourself or sort of echo the worst opinions from the worst people acting in bad faith. But I wanted to hear that in the top of the hour.
Yes.
I want to hear that at the top of the second hour so that my enjoyment of the show would be enhanced and enriched by the idea of, well, there's one thing that hooks me. I've still got that to go, and I've just seen that unbelievable move between Sammy Gavar and Ricochet or whatever. Just felt like they rush a lot. They rush a lot, let things breathe a bit. You kind of got the explanation in the very first minute of the show.
Yeah.
Except you can't really complain that much because the delivery of the explanation, even if I didn't like it that much, was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, where it's taken us.
It just sums up. Like, Moxley's been very, very, very good with this. I would put, if there's any blame on this really well-received segment, I would put it on the sequencing and the formatting of the show. I'm really interested in getting into the meat of all of this later, but it was just a bit odd to just give you it.
That's Mr. Beast has gone and said you basically need to give the people what they're clicking for. This is YouTube, obviously, but what they're clicking for within the first 5 seconds of your video. And he's giving the tips away, basically. You want to big me do that? Like, is that just crossing over into television in the way that we have the TikTokification of gigs, of whatever? Like,
I watch one television show.
Yeah,
yeah.
But, you know,
sometimes watch Collision. A Raw, but I don't consider that television. It's worse.
That's cinema, right? Like, we're talking about, like...
Look straight into that one.
If we're talking about formatting or the choices that are made,
yeah,
that could be... Why couldn't it? You know, like, we're analysing a TV show as well as a wrestling show, and maybe they're thinking... The people are wanting to tune in, but right now
get them live as well.
Yeah, they're not in a position. We've got them like Big Bang Theory people or the crossover, whatever it is. We might not keep them, but this might keep them. The John Moxley character is instantly captivating again, and because I'm sort of with you. It took a bit of the air out the balloon, and then it was sort of reinflated a bit with Darby, and then it was sort of deflated all over again. And then it was kind of reinflated for a different, second balloon.
Just it's a bit of an odd show, this.
Yeah. It's weird that they did this and the Derby segment and then Pac also cutting a promo.
Yeah.
It's weird, like, that's probably the way to do it, but it's so out of sync with
jarring, isn't it?
Dynamite's rhythms that, I mean, that's probably how they should be doing it.
It's closer to... like the typical Austin formatting of a Raw when he was hot. This was a Moxley heavy Dynamite, and you were left under no sort of indication of who else this could possibly be about other than John Moxley and his new deal. And that's wise once in a while.
Yeah, but having said that, the rhythm and the format of Dynamite is such that even though you know, and they probably reminded you on commentary, the graphic flashes up, you've seen the graphic before you tune into the show. I don't know about your brains, listeners/viewers, but mine is wired to think, right, that's the end of him. Yeah. Or that's the end of her, or that's the end of them, you know? Like,
I like a once in a while show
I do, but maybe they should do it more.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
it's so segmented that you think, well, that's it then. Even though it isn't, and you know this rationally, like on a subconscious level, you've just been trained to think, oh, well, that's that.
What was the one where they were... was it a cold open with the Attack, and then it was back to the Elite getting put in an ambulance, or it's like around... It was before Don Callis turned, maybe, last summer, and they did it like that where the show started. There was set to be a big match. I think the Elite got assaulted or something. You've seen that one of the Bucks getting wheeled into an ambulance, and then they came back later on. That I remember that because it was such a break from the norm. It's like, oh, where's the Elite Trios match going to be? Well, it's probably going to be in the main event slot. They're getting beaten up now. We need an update from them later on. You've got Alex Marvez, whatever. They filmed it in a certain bit of the truck because it was yet another case of like Punk's face being obscured by like a sticker.
Put, like,
on one of the trucks, something, and it was just, oh my god, like. But the match is later.
Yeah.
This isn't right.
Yeah.
We need to know if the Elite are going to be all right. You know, I like it. I like
it. I like it. It's just, if anything, it happens so rarely that you just think, oh, well, that character that I really like's done. It's just, It's just an odd show.
And then we see Darby Allin skateboarding into the arena, which is fun because I like to imagine he skateboards between every single town now. Not getting a car, just all right, see you the other side of the country.
I was sort of in that car with Sting, but it was Sting's car.
Yeah.
He's retired. What am I going to do now?
Anyway, out comes Christian Cage. He's flanked by the rest of the patriarchy. That is, of course, Killswitch, Nick Wayne, and Nick Wayne's mom, who's got it going on.
Speaking of Nick Wayne's mom, it's got it going on. Shout out to the wonderful Andrew Dice Clay on X. He captured a screenshot of Christian stood in front of Nick Wayne's mom in such a way that he was like, Jesus Christ, I thought Christian had his 2000s hair back for a second because all you see is her hair sticking outside of Christian's head. Looks amazing. Looks like one of the Outrunners.
So Tony Schiavone introduces them and Cage takes the mic and tells the shove it, rub your ass arena to shut up and sit down whilst he conducts his business. He says his son told him the word on the street is he's got infinite aura. And he's got this contract for the title shot, obviously. He's undeniable. He talks about All In, saying their trios titles were stolen from them. But when Killswitch grabbed him by the throat, he saw a look in his eyes and the light bulb went off and he realized what he needed to be, which is a monster, a wrecking machine, a killer who belongs to me, says Cage. Killswitch is sort of pleased by finally getting a bit of recognition, then immediately starts covering his ears when people start chanting for Luchasaurus. Schiavone brings up the tease cashing it all out, and Cage said, look, I was prepared to sign the contract and make it official, but it wasn't the time or place. Bryan Danielson's days are numbered. If he thinks being suffocated was bad, it's nothing to compare to what I'm going to do. I wrote the next bit down verbatim because I love this sentence so much. I will beat you so bad, you'll wish your wife, Brie, was the one who had CTE, so she won't be able to comprehend what an embarrassment you are as champion.
He's pretty much the best heel, Christian Cage.
He
always makes you wince.
Yeah, he finishes off by saying, not only am I the face of
And
TBS
laugh.
now and forever, I'm the next AEW World Champion, and he holds the contract in the air and walks off, and you see Kip Sabian ringside as he walks off.
Forgot about Kip Sabian. No, strong start of the show. This is very much exposition. This is very much them saying this contract, if you weren't completely clear beforehand, functions like WWE Money in the Bank.
Yes.
Here's also a reminder of my relationship and manipulation of Killswitch, because that's going to be a prominent story development before the end of 2024. My fantasy booking is that the Danielson Christian Cage match within a match happens, and Killswitch just right at the death is like, nah, he doesn't deserve that, Christian, and then the turn happens. And that my fantasy booking scenario / prediction was reinforced by this segment. It just felt a bit notable, almost conspicuous that they would do the whole previously in wrestling, our relationship. So this is basically table setting for the next sort of bit of Christian Cage's arc, masquerading as a promo segment, but the man is just so funny and like vile that I was entertained by it.
Yeah, like just echo Sige there completely. Economical in that respect, because there aren't many like Christian that could cover all of that across one promo and it not feel a bit tacked onto the show or feel more like it should have been in one of them backstage thing that gets chopped to 30 seconds.
And then you forget about more than you'd remember this more.
Oh, yeah.
You were told...
That's easy, like, Jesus.
You were told, like, to care, ultimately. It's you know, it's the WWE thing of, well, if they're not around, you don't need to be asked.
Yeah.
This was kind of putting Christian amongst that crew of wrestlers, of which after this show there was loads of them, like who are either directly in the title picture or want to be as close to it as possible.
Yeah, that line to Bryan Danielson just got a little bit longer.
Yeah.
By the end of this show. Renee Paquette's backstage with the Don Callis family and international champion Will Osprey. And Callis thanks Osprey for being there. Talks about him winning every casino gauntlet previously. And says, why don't you team with Carl Fletcher tonight and win us the AEW tag team titles? And Osprey says, a bit busy at the moment, to be honest, Don. And Callis says, that favour that you owe me, let's not forget about that. And Fletcher said he's tired of being so close and not getting the job done. There's not a single person he'd rather win the tag titles with than Osprey. Konosuke Takeshita's in the background of all this, by the way, just looking mightily pissed off. So Osprey accepts, and he high-fives Fletcher, and he hugs Don Callis, and then there's just a great little moment with him and Takeshita, who's not best pleased with all this.
I thought this was genuinely really good. I'd forgotten, frankly, about this favour. But it's continuity. It builds sort of intrigue in the Fletcher character, the danger of which is always, I could just lose in a couple of... We'll have him lose again for a 4-match TV loop in, I don't know, let's just say late October, and then we can pretend all over again that he's a hot young prospect. He's involved in this mid-card.
Yes.
He's linked in storylines to a lot of different people. So that's interesting in and of itself. The only problem I had with this really was Takeshita immediately after that really sort of well-received G1 run just looks like a spare part. Like, you'd rather go to Osprey rather than just Takeshita and Fletcher going to this gauntlet. I mean, who else is in it realistically? So it made him look a little bit of a sap. Then instantly, it's like, oh no, he's got singles obligations.
Yes.
Or
sort of
singles
by design, wasn't it? Yeah.
with Okada. So he was probably, in your head, kind of neat and go, well, Don Callis wants to keep him sort of fresh for that. But at the same time, you build the idea, and it's well overdue at this point, that Takeshita isn't necessarily happy with the mentorship of Don Callis with his facials and thinks, no, I'm going to be a babyface at some point. So very resourceful, a lot of continuity, and it opens up more possibilities for the growth of Kyle Fletcher's character. So this is really strong.
Yeah, agree. It was a nice spiderwebby sort of thing here for all the different avenues. And like what wasn't even on screen, but can definitely be implied, is Mark Davis sitting there going, oh, f*** me, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, to Kyle Fletcher, who's just basically said, I wouldn't want to team with anyone but you, Will Osprey. And you're led to think it's Takeshita that's going to feel aggrieved at that. But there's another person over there who, when realistically, both Osprey and probably Fletcher are baby faces warring against Callis. Callis is probably now already getting into the era of Mark Davis.
Nearing a year.
Yeah.
Was it Wrestle Dream?
It's been a while.
I want to say Wrestle Dream or Full Gear, because All Out, they had that 8-man FTR, so that it would have been FTR versus Aussie Open at Wrestle Dream, maybe?
Yes.
And when was that? October
1st.
Closing in on a year out.
So, I hope he's all right.
Yeah.
But there's another story spinning off this that wasn't even featured amongst the many that were in this segment. It's nice.
Wrist injury, it says here. Get well soon, Mark Davis.
You're a bit... it's Don Callis, isn't it? At this point, you're a bit like, should I invest?
Yeah,
really screwed up with Don Callis family last year. Really screwed it up. So, but if it wasn't him and it was another manager, you'd have no reason to doubt any of this.
I wanted to ask you about this. I thought this in the moment, and then I thought it was even more prominent afterwards, because I think some people may assume that we would sit here and say, oh, God, he's TK'd it again. They formed this team. They're obviously going to win the gauntlet. I didn't think that. I thought, well, it could all go awry here, which furthers the whole Don Callis. Oh, I see. I do you all these favours, and the one favour I ask you, you bloody let me down or whatever. Is that fair?
Yes.
Didn't give it too much away.
I mean, I kind of had it.
It was, yeah.
The thing is, right, it's just a weird, again, this is such a weird one to dive into and analyse. Yes, you could argue that the signpost did it, because they, in fact, did. But not through the actual booking of the tag team division did I think, well, no, not necessarily, because they're credible, or they haven't had every title shot in the past 5 years, FTR, or they, you know what I mean? I didn't think, oh, well, you know, Private Party are on the come up because it's not 2019. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think anything that they've already done and earned through their booking led me away from, oh, well, it's just, you know,
Yeah.
Osprey and thingy. It was the precedent set by previous Casino Gauntlets in the singles division that made me think, oh, that's going to be a return or a tag team that you just didn't expect to see or whatever. So it wasn't earned by the booking, more by the precedent set in the gimmick match beforehand.
Here comes the scapegoat bus. Beep, beep. Jack Perry turns up because it's time for his TNT Championship match against Leo Rush. He attacks him straight away at the bell. Action Andretti's there, watching out for Leo Rush and, trying to spot any foxes, probably doing the rounds. Rush sends Perry to the floor, where he shoves Andretti, but he gets distracted long enough for Leo to take over. Perry tried a DDT off the edge of the ring, but Rush fights out of it and tried a moonsault, but he got caught with the snake eyes onto the apron to take us to a break. When we come back, Jack Perry effectively just suckers Action Andretti into grabbing his foot, being caught by the ref and kicked out of there. That distraction, though, allows Rush to get back into it again, hits a few topes, Perry runs right into a Spanish fly when they get back inside. He fights back there with another snake eyes into the middle buckle. Snapdragon puts him in control. Goes for it again. This time Rush counters into a poison Rana. He tried for a springboard stunner, but Perry hit him with a running knee strike and then his finishing running knee to get the 1-2-3. Alex Marvez, poor bloke, tried to catch up with him afterwards as he's walking back out to the bus. Perry said, "People like me are crucified in this life so they can be worshipped in the next," and then immediately just drove off.
Yeah. Leo Rush and his Lopez or suicide dives were incredible in this match, which otherwise just existed and was there. You know what I mean? I was like, bloody hell. Like, this match was so, quite frankly, mediocre. Obviously, the execution of certain moves was done really well. Like, Leo Rush is incredible. Jack Perry either has or had something, and he's been involved in some awesome matches in his young career, and I just feel like I should caveat that. I'm not one of these people who says he's rubbish. He isn't. Let's not be stupid about it. Let's not be so black and white. I thought this match was mediocre. The finish was anticlimactic. It did nothing for me, and it just kind of ended. It was so just there that they basically teased Kenny Omega's return in this match, like, more explicitly than they have since he was storyline written out. And because the match was of this standard, I couldn't even get excited about it. And this is me about Kenny Omega. I love him so damn much. He did the Snapdragon, and instantly it DiCaprio. I mean, it's not obviously like it's not an Easter egg, but it was notable. And then they bring up for the first time in a long time Kenny Omega on commentary, and they wish him well. And that was instantly. I don't think they do that if he's basically told them, I mean, it's not looking good. Yeah. Because they know that there are dorks like me, and that there are a lot of very, very passionate. They know their audience, AEW. Sometimes they'll just listen to friggin', ex-TNA writers or top stars who should have left a long time ago, and they'll forget what their audience wants. But I would say they're broadly in tune with their audience. They know that Kenny Omega's audience and the Elite's audience, not only do they look for every little detail, but they're obviously going to notice a very obvious detail, like Jack Perry doing the move of the guy he wrote out. This felt to me like Kenny's told them, prognosis is looking good.
It's good.
I mean, it's incredible, but I mean, it has to work Perry.
It's tricky, this, because...
I mean, it's Kenny. They've had a great match before, and it's Kenny Omega. He could wrestle anyone on a return from this injury. Sorry, I'm stepping on your dick.
That's right.
It's the 2021 laundry list was like, well, that sounds awful, but each and every one of those, other than the Vertigo, which sounds terrifying, seems comebackable from. This one is very much like, can you even lift, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. So any sort of indication of, well, it's possible or probable even, was exciting.
I loved their match in 2021.
It was so
obviously
good.
You've got completely different alignments to work
Yeah.
with, but I trust Kenny Omega. And I don't trust Jack Perry, and that's sort of what I want to talk about. If you really break this down, like...
he doesn't work as a heel.
Jack Perry is... And I sense at the moment there is still... It's only simmering at best now. It's like we talked about the all-out reactions. It's not really the culture what there used to be, but you can still... I saw a bit of it in the comments to me putting over the bump at the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, when people that don't follow you just pick up your tweet. It's like there's a bunch of people saying, yeah, an old man Phil said this. And I was like, you don't know you're tweeting it. Like, I've probably got a favourite in this. But either way, I've enjoyed Jack Perry's work this year.
Yeah.
He's if you break it down, he's a very, very, very pushed commodity in 2024.
Yeah.
And he's not really justifying it at the moment. Like, I'm just trying to speak in absolutes here.
If you look at who else they could push, you know?
He gets the massive comeback via New Japan that is designed to feed into a huge AEW storyline. They're playing the footage. He physically attacked Tony Khan as part of his comeback. He was integral in the Young Bucks winning the tag titles as part of his return.
He's got Kenny Omega lined up and responsible for writing him out.
They're lining up Kenny Omega plus world title plus Darby Allin in a stadium. They're giving him a belt. If you break it all down and it was somebody that is... I know Jack Perry's divisive, but let's just say somebody that is universally disliked. Like if it was Chris Jericho but 20 years younger. So Sammy Guevara. Like if it was a figure who just most people don't enjoy. Yeah. Like, why are they still pushing him? Like, That's sort of where we're at. If you break down all the different things Jack Perry's had in 2024.
They've given him loads, and he's done, I would say, next to nothing with it.
Massively connecting, is it?
Highlights, yes, in places.
One Blood and Guts,
Yeah.
But my God, the time was cut short, but he didn't do it at Wembley. All Out was just a long match that will not even remotely trouble Match of the Year charts. And if you're getting this push in this promotion above that many other wrestlers in it, you got to do a damn sight better than what he's doing at the minute. Like, a damn sight better. It's not looking good for his career, really. Because it's not as if, like, people are going, I said this yesterday, I know. It's not as if there are loads of people saying, like, turn heel, turn babyface. I miss the Jungle Boy. Kind of got nowhere to go if this doesn't work.
It's ironic, isn't it, that the whole... Like, the line that ultimately came back to haunt CM Punk was, if you got a problem with Jack Perry, you're the problem. And obviously what happened. But that speaks to what made him so likable as Jungle Boy. Yeah. So again, he's like, well, he's just dealing with, maybe not as Jungle Boy, but is he just horribly miscast? And the real character, the real winning character is still a babyface. We were kind of the first guys to see him get booed as a babyface. Remember that Vegas Dynamite?
Yeah.
That shocked us.
Yeah.
How? Is this Jack Perry ruffling his hair sort of thing, like
his career trajectory at time of recording is much closer to Sammy Guevara than top AEW star.
Yeah.
We see footage of the Lights Out Steel Cage match from All Out between Hangman Page and Swerve, and then Renee's chatting to Page backstage saying, how is it? How are you? Where's your head at right now? Page had a nice line. If he found 1,000 houses that Swerve Strickland called home, he would have burned them all to ash just to make him pay for what he did to him and his family. He meant everything he did to Strickland. If anyone gets in his way and tries to protect Swerve from him, he will find you. He will hurt you. He walks off, and you hear Renee go, what the hell? And he's chinned someone just off camera, just some backstage people, basically. He glares at Top Flight, goes towards the Dark Order boys who say, I don't even know who you are anymore, mate. And then here comes Jeff Jarrett to say, I've seen a lot of guys take the old demented path. You might be going the extra mile, but it all ends up in shame and regret. You're going to regret the day you laid your hands on my wife. Yeah. You're going to learn the worst person you'll ever look at is the one staring at you in the mirror. You can't go any further because Page gets into it with him, go back and forth.
Kicks his ass.
Don't really go back and forth, actually. He just twats him and chucks him into some chairs. He storms off. And then Jay Lethal and a host of others, including, of course, Karen Jarrett, check on Jeff as Hangman Page just storms off.
One more singles match that, if it's even half as good as the Owen match, is going to be one of the best TV matches of the year.
Yeah.
They've got a fantastic chemistry, and you absolutely have to. I love this Hangman character as well.
It's great.
I love it.
I watched all of this, and I was terrified, which is good because you're meant to be scared of the unhinged Hangman. And how many times do we get not scared of characters who are supposed to be crazy? His performances remain incredible. His promos are so great now. I've always rated him as a promo, but he's one of the best in wrestling right now at promos. And it was the insinuation that you can't wrestle him again. You can't do any more to him than you've already done. Why is he still at the forefront of your mind? Why is he still consciously directing everything you do? Because if you keep saying this, he's going to come back and you have to have another match, and you're not allowed. You can't take it any further than you did. A sense of genuine unease surrounds this Hangman Page character, and it's, for 2024, at my age, is staggering.
Renee Paquette.
Her body language before she encountered him was first rate as ever.
They've always got brilliant chemistry, those two.
I got a flash too. You ever seen the clip from when, again, sorry to our American viewers, football talk now, not yours, ours. When Duncan Ferguson just punched someone who was playing for Everton, I think against Wigan. Jimmy Bullard, happy-go-lucky guy, goes up to him like, you all right? You okay? That was what Renee Paquette was doing with, hang on, you okay? We all right? Because I also like you say, Sid.
Sorry, Fraser Cranium.
Yeah, now that, like you say, he's dealt with Swerve as much as he can. But now, a bit like, in cartoons when someone's really hungry and everyone's head turns into a burger or something, now everyone's head is just Swerve. He's like, there's Swerve, bang, bang. I also just thought immediately, and I'm sorry to wish this on one of your favourites, blood in that blonde hair is going to look amazing, isn't it?
He wants to see him.
Yeah. I love you. That's why I want to see you get crucified by Hangman Page.
Stick on the Arthur Ashe card. Still another 6,000 tickets, probably.
Then something completely threw me.
If they open up some seats there, might be another 14,000. Actually, no, there might be another 16,000.
What might somebody exclaim if they were looking at that current ticket map?
Oh, dear.
Come on, it deserves more than this.
Yeah. They're going to get some more after this one. It was a heavy push on the show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be ace. I got really thrown by what happened next because I thought, I haven't got these in my notes. Commander and Private Party come out for, I think, a trios match. Didn't happen. Mox, Claudio, Marina Shafir. I don't know her.
I know her.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's Marina Shafir.
Okay. And Pat clear the ring, and Pat gets on the mic and says, we've been very patient, but enough's enough. This company's broken. What happened at All Out was inevitable.
It was actually really good, so...
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we were enjoying it.
We'll get to it. Not me. I like it.
What happened at All Out was inevitable. We are inevitable.
Them in that break room and you're just trying to eat your scotch egg.
I know.
Not for me, Pac. I like it. They've all just burst into that tiny office. Boring, isn't it? Watching repeats of 2020 AEW Dynamite. I like it.
I like it.
Pac says he's been lost for very long, but not anymore. Now he has something to believe in, a purpose. Diplomacy has failed. This company's theirs.
Right. I'm going to let this play out.
Yeah.
The first order of business, and even when it was probably done as a cathartic thing, and a bit of a juxtaposition of, all right, okay, there's Alex Abrahantes doing a stupid forward roll and then thrusting his hips. Christ. Now I know what women talk about when they talk about the ick. Alex Abrahantes.
Alec Abrahantes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I like it. It gives me the ick. Honestly, we recorded a video, right? Where, a Talking Heads video, where, which wrestler do you hate for no reason? And I was like, I've got very good reasons for my hatred. Yes. So I struggled with the brief. I think I've got a good reason for hating. Hate's a strong word. And it's not strong enough, actually, because Alex Abrahantes gives me the ick. He is a complete net negative for every wrestler he's been associated with. Look at what Nana does for Swerve. That's what a manager's meant to do. You're meant to enhance the act you're in.
Manager of the year, PWI.
Yeah. He sucks aura harder than an aeroplane toilet out of the people with whom he's aligned.
Brilliant.
Look at that. Look at what Penta used to be. And that dork has to go next to him, the hype man.
It's like Lexus King doing the spider walk, but for baby faces.
It's like he comes out, yeah, I'm Alex Abrahantes. I'm going to do a forward roll. I hate you.
I do like that song now, though. Yeah, I'm Alex Abrahantes. I think that just got over.
Oh, good. Yeah. Every single time.
Yeah, I'm Alex Abrahantes. Yeah, I'm Alex Abrahantes.
He's the biggest loser in AEW.
Alex, you seen this? He's
got a song for you. Just pause it there. Stop it right there.
I'm not being funny. It's like, might be a nice guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You never know with wrestlers. You never know. Maybe he's a good backstage liaison. Okay? He stinks, and he gives me the ick, and he's a dog. And I tweeted this, and the mega fans will forgive me.
It's at M. Sidgwick. It's a great tweet, this.
Alex Abrahantes makes Todd Pettengill look like Atsushi Anita. In the Tokyo Dome. Getting pelted with garbage and not caring and just lighting a tab up instead. Oh my God. What is he doing on TV?
I'm just imagining Todd lighting up at Shotgun Saturday Night in his leather jacket. Remember nearly Attitude Era Todd?
Yeah.
Just before it could fully convert. Michael Cole took his
Did he
place.
save your pando?
Yeah. Todd Pettingill's coverage of In Your House basically kept me going through a bleak June.
Give you a good month, didn't he?
Yeah.
Hell of a shift from his intro to the intro song, if I remember rightly, In Your House.
Oh, God, everything was going great. We're in your house. Tonight is for one night in your house. Remember when you loved your life in your house. Todd and now over to the Performance Center. It's motherfucking in your house. It's still Triple H show. Where's the road dog? Gonna go out.
That guy from Code Orange, was it?
Code Orange.
Rewatch that when we go back downstairs.
No, God, gives me... so that's a disproportionate burial of Alex Abrahantes there, but it's unacceptable. That forward roll and the hip thrust.
But he got a song out of it.
Ick. Onto the actual point of the segment, which was the interruption. I philosophically hate any angle that tells you the promotion's bad. Just the promotion. I know it's different with AEW, I guess, where it's like it's the spirit of it is meant to mean something. And the spirit of the WWF or the WWF was never meant to mean anything.
Yeah.
It was just the big game in town, and you've made it in the WWF, and it's a backdrop for the stories.
It's where the wrestlers went to work and Jack Tunney was running the office.
That's how I grew up on it. So maybe I'm just old, or maybe you should have been born earlier. This idea, Hamlet, you've got a better wrestling memory than me, quite frankly. This idea of the promotion sucks, it needs to kind of be saved during a creative slump or an era or a time of poor attendances and ticket sales and not the best ratings. That's meant to be the shot in the arm of, we get it, guys, we're going to save it. Is the origin of this story, the first time it was done, New Blood Millionaires Club?
Ooh, I mean...
I'm not saying this is this.
No, that was their, like... Ultimately, you could get away with versions of it with the NWO and then Vince and Austin. But that was where it really got warped, I would say. Like, I can't think of another one where... Because both of those were drawing so much money and people were so invested that you were either blind to the inherent flaw. Like the whole thing about like Vince and Austin is Austin's massive and look at all the people in it. Why would you not want it? Like you have to sort of buy in it. Same with NWO, you have to buy in a bit.
The thing with like Austin McMahon, I would describe as a different thing because business wasn't like great in 1997, but it was like really acclaimed.
Yeah.
And it was the version of two promotions. One where Vince, early in the sort of Mr. McMahon character, and I'm loath to put him over, but it's an example, basically tried to frame the WWF as this really wholesome mom and pop operation when realistically...
He was the champion right then.
Yeah. He was like this mom and pop operation and, you know, it was built on the blood of, you know, good old guys like Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe, and they would do these like saccharine propaganda video packages, and it was great. Then there was Austin who was like, well, I'm the badass, I drink beer, and we should probably get edgier and all the rest of it. That wasn't like... It was a promotion on the rise telling the story of two WWFs. One's cool and he wants to make it cooler, and one's pretending just to put the thumb on your champion. That's different. Is that the first, like, there's New Blood Millionaires Club, the first canonical, this is a complete mess. We know it's a mess and we need a little desperate stunt.
I suppose it was because they were out front about it, the big restart, and it was the outright saying, take the belt off the old guys.
Yeah.
It was real and fake together, wasn't it? You know,
yeah. And now you've got... And then from there, it's probably 1 million in TNA because the amount of times it failed is quite preposterous.
Yeah. And a lot of talents that would sign were just allowed to say what they want.
Yeah.
To go into the ring and just half shoot on the nonsense backstage or Dixie Carter or whatever.
Foley and Heyman started to really do it, lay it in thick in late 2001. Like this stinks and something needs to change because the invasion was a complete omni-shambles failure.
Who doesn't have a belt?
Yeah.
Everybody's got one these days. All right, Mick.
All right. Well, I mean, it's very prescient. Look at AEW. And then, you know, there's other examples. Like Nexus was, you'd rubbish at promoting new talent, so much so that we are, you know, like a kicked cat, like fighting back or whatever. The Nexus formed because WWE was a useless wrestling promotion, right?
CM Punk ever do anything about it?
Might have dropped the
might
pipe bomb.
have dropped the pipe bomb.
Brian, like the S movement.
Yeah.
Like, everybody loves it. Well, we, the authority, don't. What do you want then? What do you want from this wrestling promotion?
Yeah. And look what happened to Daniel Bryan. Look what happened to CM Punk. Not only is it such a distraction from the really nice time I've been having with AEW for the past month. Right, okay. It never ends well. Oh, this company stinks and something needs to be done about it. It never ends well. Has it ever ended in, all right, okay, well, this storyline's happened and the fortunes of the promotion have been reversed pretty much overnight on the back of this fictionalized storyline?
It's the NWO, isn't it? That's the one because they were actively targeting WCW in a version they thought was rubbish.
And it was.
And, like, that's That's the
rule-proving exception.
Yeah.
The rule-proving
And it
exception.
happens to be pretty much the first North American one too.
And this
is
that's the equivalent of authority figure storylines worked once with Austin McMahon. Again. He completely lost sight of why you're doing it. And I'll wait and see. But this is very much the latest of the promotion stinks. I don't like the promotion being the stakes.
And it doesn't help that we've just seemingly had a power struggle between Tony Khan and the EVPs.
Well, I'm going to touch on that when Moxley comes out later.
just devil's advocate, because I agree with you. I think there's no need.
I'm going to let it play. It's week one. It's week one.
Devil's advocate, and they'll never explain it as directly as this, nor probably should they. But is this sort of this new group taking credit for the vibe changing because they looked upon Wembley and thought this is too
nice,
and they don't like nice, and that's pretty like sort of Route 1 heel babyface stuff, like which even that is weird because it's like, well, you've got the trios belts and your mate Brian's got the world title. I know you're not massively into the vibe, but you're all champions. So things are working out pretty well for you, like whatever. So even that's not perfect, but is that like, are they able to take credit for how All Out felt? So like, because look what they did. They were the darkest part of the very dark night in AEW.
Maybe.
And
maybe.
That's what they want.
But then they're not talking about the attitude and the feel good. They're talking about people backstage with egos, and then it becomes this meta thing. And it touches on yet again of the
Darby Allin does it too.
Yes, and it touches yet again on what I don't want to be touched, and it's the idea of backstage unrest, and it's not all harmonious backstage and all the rest of it. And I'm so sick and tired of it. We've been doing derivations of this story since CM Punk first left.
You're right.
Before he first left.
It's like you should think of the backstage area as nothing more than how it impacts the characters. I'm going to lean on my favourite example, but all I want to know about Raw's backstage is that nobody likes Jey Uso until he makes friends with them all.
Yeah.
And that helps the universe make a bit more sense for all the various characters. Yeah, you don't want to be stopping and thinking
it's week one. It's week one, but I'm scared. Week one, but I'm a little bit alarmed. And yet, if you think I'm getting a bit miserable, I thought Moxley was incredible later on. So, again, as we said, the theme of this podcast is I'm all over the shop. And I should probably not do one this week and let it play out. That's not how content works. So, shut up.
Keep on clicking.
Keep on listening.
I'm learning tree.
Oh, yeah, he's finished.
Pulls up. He's got a new Bentley. The number plate reads, "Hi, guys." He's just trademarked that. Chris Jericho's wearing the $7,000 jacket that was covered in orange from Orange Cassidy 4 years ago. And he says, that's why I stole Orange Cassidy's backpack on Collision, I think it was last week, because he didn't pay me back for the jacket. And as a result, I've got this backpack and I found something in it. I'm going to expose you. I'm going to show everyone what's in it later on tonight. And Big Bill and Brian Keith basically say we're going to suffer the consequences.
Well, yeah, they weren't wrong there.
Moving on.
Yeah, we'll save it.
We'll save it for that. I'm not talking about them twice.
Ricochet versus Sammy Guevara was next. Quick series of sort of back and forth, stalemate early on. But Ricochet flips out of a trip, sends Guevara outside with a drop kick, and clears the top with a twisting press, landing on his feet. They brawl up the ramp. Guevara sends Ricochet face first into the entrance tunnel, climbs up the stage. Big moonsault.
That's that forever.
Did the big moonsault off it.
Big. Massive. Don't undersell it.
Sorry.
He didn't undersell it. He went,
I undercut it completely. I was a bit worried because he came up clutching his ankle as we went to commercial. We come back. Guevara's back in control. Sends Ricochet into the barricade. Does a somersault twisting dive off of it with a shout out to Tay and Luna. He wants to powerbomb on the ramp, but Ricochet gets out of it and says, "Get out of the way!" And does an awesome double jump senton off the barricade.
Oh my God.
I pressed this earlier, but yeah.
They give one for Sammy Guevara.
Yes.
Oh my God.
oh my God.
Dick.
Springboard clothesline, running shooting star press, back inside, gets a 2 count. Ricochet wanted a DVD, but Guevara counted into a destroy and a top rope cutter for 2.
Oh my
Through
God.
for Miles.
Guevara went up top, rolled through a shooting star press. Ricochet tried a rolling cutter, but Guevara catches him with a pump knee. Goes for the GTH. That's dodged into a roundhouse kick. Brutal looking axe kick. And Ricochet hit the vertigo sit-out reverse DDT for the 1, 2, 3.
Encouraging this.
Yeah.
And promising. It wasn't anywhere near Pac Osprey. for a start. And I think I've got a pretty good take on Ricochet and his future, and I think it looks all that bright. But I'll prepare to be proven wrong. I'll put my hands up if I am. So this match was... Usually I will invoke this comparison, and it's not good. This was a 2019 ass match, right?
Okay.
In which this sort of style was really becoming prominent on mainstream US TV, and it was really thrilling. I think you could have move for move done this in 2019, mostly, and because we've seen so much of it, it was hard to get wowed. I will say the Ricochet barricade dive, the setup was great. The execution was not. I think the catch wasn't there. It didn't look like a full-on back bump. It was like it grazed.
A lot of that. Good flips, minimal impact.
Well,
a lot of that.
I'm going to get onto what I think. I think what a fantastic take. You can't deny that the creativity was here. The execution of some moves was unbelievable. Like that cutter. I mean, I think he's headbutted people on this cutter before. Sting. Jesus Christ, remember that. So in terms of if you want to get like really clinical about the way you assess things, mostly or a lot of the times, inch perfect execution of really spectacular and cool looking moves. Check. Right? If you want to do that,
Yeah.
loves that, doesn't he?
Love it every time.
But it was a bit more 2019 than 2024. And here's something that I hadn't considered, right? There was one very small move which... I'm coughing near me, mate. There's someone coughing outside. I never like that. Sorry. I'm really throwing off my rhythm there. So I think it's a kick that he's just doing it so that Gavar can duck. And Ricochet puts nothing behind this kick. Nothing.
Pet peeve of yours, that.
And it's a pet peeve of mine, and I start to get to thinking. This Ricochet run and this new character arc and this story, which does exist, is premised on... It's about rehabbing Ricochet and his aura and his reputation and his standing as one of the best in the world, or of a generation even. They're telling that story through. Well, come on, win some matches and you'll get your chance to beat an Osprey who's lapped you. Okay, and it's all based on you spent however many years with the Fed. They don't really let you go that hard. Can he still go? And one day he'll prove that he can in the storylines, not necessarily in the matches. See, I don't want to discount it because he's still got the creativity, right? And he's still got that unbelievable agility. That barricade spot was incredible, nearly incredible, and it proved it. So that all of this is based on Ricochet and Osprey were neck and neck in 2016, right? In 2016, they were neck and neck. And they're telling the story of Ricochet wants to get back to that level and level up to Osprey. And hopefully it does. Genuinely, hopefully it does.
Yeah.
I know Ricochet's really annoying on socials, but he's also really spectacular, and I want to be wowed by him all over again. Right. 2016, this happens, right? This Osprey, Ricochet, Best of the Super Juniors match. What happens a year later? What happens a year later, on January 4th, 2017, is that Kenny Omega f***s the whole game up. That's what he does. He does these incredible... intricate sequences. He doesn't do as many flips per se, but his moonsault is higher over that guardrail to Okada, and the strikes are sickening. Those strikes are revolting. Those V-triggers are so incredible that every time you see them, you think, how have you not broken that motherfucker's nose? You know what I mean? How have you not broken their orbital bone? How is their eye in their socket? That concussive, traumatic impact of his strikes is sort of like a revolution on top of a revolution from 2016. And what's happened is that Pac proves after the Fed run, he can be that disgusting and hard with his head drops and those neck bumps and all the rest of it. Osprey with the hidden blade. Mm-hmm. And I just think that there's a physicality that's been in play for years now, realistically. We're almost bored of the physicality, or some people are. Mm-hmm. There's a physicality that has been introduced to this style, and I don't think Ricochet's got that dog in him. He's unbelievably strong, and he's still unbelievably agile, and he's still unbelievably creative. But there's a level of physicality to this sort of style, whatever you want to deem it, hybrid, high flying, whatever. And I don't think he's got that. I think he needs to start kicking the out of people and improving on his strikes, because 2017 followed 2016 really quickly, and that realization dawned on me as I was watching this compared to the match at All Out.
Yeah, that line of thinking kind of forces you into making a bit of a tier list, doesn't it? Like, I felt like my optimism to this match was rewarded. Like I was saying on the preview,
that's the thing.
I thought this was going to be competitively athletic, because you'd have this like one-upsmanship for the good of the match. And I think
great time with this
I think
match.
that's what revealed ultimately.
I just want to say it one more time. I had a great time with this match. I have a transcendent time with the best of Omega and Osprey.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
I think this is it. I think like what the question is at the moment, and I guess the only answer to that is going to be post Osprey for Ricochet, is on what tier of this type of wrestler does he sit? Is it that Omega, Osprey, Pac tier? Because Pac showed at All Out that don't leave him out of these conversations when you're talking about Will Ospreay. Like, don't leave me out. Look, I'm still Pac. I was the same guy that I always was. It's Osprey that had to catch up to me. That story kind of proved true, I would say, in that match. And it illustrated it, certainly. And then you've got the Omega tier, like, pending where he falls post-injury, but what his reputation has allowed him. That very, very top tier. And to be absolutely fair to Sammy Guevara, like here, what Sammy Guevara was able to do was like, well...
He doesn't have that physicality either.
No.
And I think that might have been the reason why he's not quite... his attitude.
He can't break through. And at the moment, and there'll be others who I can't think of right now, but, there'll be other wrestlers of this sort of... I don't know.
Like Fletcher's got it.
Fletcher
got
feels
the
like
physicality.
somebody that's looking to...
Yeah.
Right? Ricochet, we're not going to know until the Osprey match happens, and then what happens afterwards.
I think they put the title on him, by the way.
Maybe they will.
I think with the Fletcher tag stuff, I think it's going to be like divided loyalties. I really would quite like to focus on preparing for Ricochet and Don being like, no, this is your favour.
And then he's got an out.
Yeah.
Double duty.
Yes, exactly.
But the only way we're going to learn ultimately about where Ricochet sits in that tier list is by the matches. And what has he got? Like, I would even say, like, if you're talking about physicality, but also about exciting aerials, there's a lad who I've seen on quite a lot of the weekend shows who has quite a prominent mask. I can't remember.
I think he was involved in this, actually.
Yeah, he popped up, didn't he?
The Beast, Mortos.
What is exciting about him right now is that feeling that he too has got just that little bit of something extra and
oomph.
Yeah, and again, it's Ricochet's tier to, like, where's he going to sit ultimately in that tier? We still don't know, but yeah, it's only after the Osprey match are we going to be able to start making our minds up, which is weird because this was way better. I came out of this with such a higher opinion of Ricochet than I did from the Fletcher match, but with all the questions that Sidge is raising about where exactly he fits.
Yeah, so post-match, Ricochet was attacked by...
The Beast, Mortos.
Nails him with a spear. Might not even make it to the Osprey match. Guevara grabs a chair, though, and makes the save. There's a nice show of respect between the two of them. Match Beast Mortos, great.
Like, do they do the Beast Mortos, and then do they do, say, a hologram? And it's like, right, you've seen these awesome Ricochet matches ahead of Osprey.
Should save some of them. It feels like you can't. Not every wrestler's going to come in with a 5-year plan. It feels like the plan for Ricochet was let's do the Osprey match or whatever, look a tit or whatever, suck the tits or whatever,
do a flip or whatever.
So yeah.
We get highlights from the brilliant Chicago Street Fight.
It all goes back to Kenny, doesn't it, for me?
Yeah.
Everything.
I think that about Osprey. Like, I don't mind saying, I know it's like he's somewhat of a sacred cow, but I still think that about when I'm watching Will Ospreay. Like, sometimes I want to feel for you like I did for Kenny Omega.
I think the difference is between Kenny and Osprey, and I kind of got this in the Pac matches, unbelievable as it was. Omega's got the better near falls. He's got the, how is this still going? And like with Osprey, it's like, that's not the finish. That's not the finish. Amazing. That's not the finish, really. Omega's got that next level of how is that not the finish?
He's better at playing dead than Osprey as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like,
and that which
He's in the
informs it.
2.999 club, isn't he?
It's not just the execution and the selling. It's the steps. It's like, how's that not the finish?
Yeah.
Like, how is that? Like, you play along, especially live. 1, 2. I mean, and my soul, I didn't really think that was the finish. If you really boil it down with Omega, it's like, remember wasn't even the best match they had with each other. The Forbidden Door 23 match with Osprey, casually putting through the best near falls you've seen in your life. Like the one where his leg, 2.99, and he hasn't even started moving his leg at 2.5, and then from 2.7 to 2.99, puts the leg on the bottom rope, like Heart Attack City. And then the one thing, the one count from the One-Winged Angel.
Oh, yeah.
Then the rule of three. Subvert a dickhead because Kenny's the best. The Tiger Driver ass kick out of that as well. Oh, my God, I miss him so damn much. I miss your Musk.
So we see highlights from the all-out Chicago street fight between Willow and Stat, and then Renee Paquette's backstage with Kazuchika Okada. He says defending his title all-out was the hardest night of his life.
I love him, I'm sorry.
Yeah, me
It was so easy, he says. Then Don Callis walks in with Takeshita, and he says, didn't pin Konosuke. And Okada says, yeah, Takeshita's going to be a champion, just not the Continental champion. Bitch.
Our belt's massive and it ain't made of plastic.
Yeah, Takeshita gets in Okada's face and Okada leaves.
Perfect. I mean, I'm not being funny, right? Away from the Okada thing, he had great night at Wembley, a class match against Fletcher, and what I liked about his pretty mid-match at All Out was he's just basically got on TV the couple of days after and went, aye, well, it was a cool down. What do you want us to do?
Yeah.
Work? Not really. So I found that funny, to be fair. And there's just enough recent evidence that Okada's still got that dog in him. And what I liked about this as well was asked and answered with Takeshita. Is that right? He's coming back from the G1. You're going to have anything substantial for him to do? Feud with Kazuchika Okada? Check.
They're going to tear it up. Okada's going to win. How great was Takeshita getting over in defeat constantly once upon a time? And then he's going to win the C2, and then he's going to beat Okada.
Yeah.
And that's New Japan stuff, and it's going to all rule all of it.
Yeah.
Darby Allin walks to the ring with his skateboard.
Dedication.
He says, someone's been looking for me. Well, I'm right here. And out comes John Moxley and Marina Shafir through the crowd. Shafir gets right in Darby's face. Mox, calm down. Moxley says, I don't know what you've seen or heard, but nothing's changed between the two of us. Darby Allin cuts him off, though, says, enough. You know, we don't act like superstars. We don't live in a fantasy world. We don't take any of this for granted. AEW gave me everything, and I want to tell you a story. I've not said this before, Mox, but he said, you know, when I was getting into wrestling my first year, everyone I put my faith in let me down, showed me that I couldn't trust them, but not you, John. You're still true to who you always have been. For both of us, it's not about ego. It's not about money. It's about a love for wrestling. He talked about facing Mox on the indies, saying how afraid he was, but while he lost, he earned his respect. But he said, I would never do what you did to Bryan Danielson. I'd never do that to someone I loved. I'd never do that to someone like Sting. What do you want from me? And Mox says, well, Darby, you've got a guaranteed world title shot, of course, coming up. But that's obviously not happening. The world champion is indisposed. But maybe it's a blessing in disguise because you're not ready. You weren't ready a few years ago. You're not ready now to be world champion. So I'm going to need you to hand that world title shot over to me. Just says it. Give it me. And you believe that some people, I would. Okay, there you go, John. And Darby Allin fires back, though. Says, are you stupid? You've been drinking again? If you want it so bad, why don't you just do something about it? Mox says he'll earn it. Grand Slam. Put your world title shot on the line. You're so far below me that you'll never be world champion, but I'm the only one who's got you back. Trust me when I say you've got no idea what's going on, but that title shot will be mine, and I'll teach you the hard way. Darby Allin accepts and says if Moxley wants to burn AEW to the ground, don't be surprised when I pull you into the fire.
Some great lines like that in this promo, which I was on tenterhooks watching, which is probably the main thing. If you take anything away from the next 3 minutes of this, I was on tenterhooks throughout. I'm desperate to see this match. I'm almost scared of the match. So I'm on the hook. I've just got some pedantic criticisms. I believe it from Darby, but in terms of his character and generally at the top of AEW's card, we've had since the JAS and the BCC a good 2 years and change of this. I do not need more. AEW is the sort of storytelling device and the reason why they're fighting, or what means the most to the characters. Bored. And I don't think it's really grabbing these fans either. AEW as a fictionalized entity being the stakes or the motivating thing for a character has not drawn money. What does that tell you? Personal issues draw money. Ever heard of it? So that's really starting to wind me up. I can't believe that there's a personal story with it between Mox and Darby. They've had the history. They've articulated it. They reminded you of it. I believe it. But I'm just sick of AEW being the driving thing. And Darby talks about it too much at this point. It's nowhere near Dax levels of there's beersness and all the rest of it. More on him later, by the way. Jesus Christ. I nailed it. But it's getting a little bit mascotty with Darby.
I don't know much about skateboards.
It's getting a bit mascotty with Darby, and it's a bit tiresome at this point for me. And Darby wasn't great for me. He was good. He wasn't great in the segment. One, for that reason. Two, if I was, him, I would only have done the drinking line if Moxley's wronged him or said something first.
Yeah.
Just felt like, come on. As far as the characters go, Moxley hasn't done anything bad to you yet. I know it's coming because Moxley's body language and ominous words have been really quite perfect in this exchange. He hasn't done anything yet. Uncalled for is the short, succinct version of that. Conversely, and I think Darby Allin's the most underrated wrestler in the world.
I think he's come on leaps and bounds.
As a promo as well, but I still think he's got that edgelord meta stuff that he just needs to get out of his system. But I mean, he's from that era watching it, you know what I mean? Be born earlier, Darby, sorry.
Yeah, fair.
Moxley was incredible. What I loved about just give me the title shot, and Darby said the line, and I didn't like it. But then Mox was like, He didn't go, I wanted it to be that easy. I honestly believe, and I'm so glad he hasn't said it or said it yet, when he went, you don't know, I'm going to have to kill you harder than I've ever killed you before. And I've been one of the few to write you off TV with an avalanche death
paradigm
rider,
shift.
Paradigm shift. So I'm now worried. Moxley's body language was so great that I'm really going to have to just rip your throat out sort of thing. And I'm going to almost feel bad. He looks cool for the first time since 2022 as well, John Moxley. He looks cool for the first time in 2022. So I loved the body language and what that conveyed, the ominous mood, the foreshadowing of like really disturbing stuff in Arthur Gash. I also was on the hook for, excited by, and a little bit alarmed by this. He's very good, Moxley. He's very, very clever. He's intimated throughout, you don't know how big this is. You don't know how big this is. And he said it again, like, you don't get it yet, you will. You don't know how far this goes. He's interacted with the Young Bucks and said, Jack Perry. He said to Jack Perry, because he's Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Hey. You all right. John Roxley.
And with these sorts of storylines, even if they don't end up that well, like they named the TK driver before they drove TK with it, the Young Bucks, every little thing seems to matter. They in league with the Elite, and as someone else has mentioned on Twitter, and it popped into my head as well, Shane McMahon involved in all this is some kind of actual high stakes. We're taking dirty money to do it. An actual Civil War ownership battle, which I'm not necessarily in favor of, but the more that Moxley intimates, this rabbit hole's pretty damn deep. It gets you thinking.
Mm-hmm.
The OTJ was the first person to speak so enthusiastically about it, so I've kind of assumed Shane's been coming in since then. You've never been wrong yet, have you?
Nope.
I was higher on this.
Not around people like John Moxley, definitely not.
I was higher on this than you, I think. I loved all of this. There was everything Sid just mentioned about Moxley's performance. I can't say it any better. Magic. I'm so happy to be loving, hating, whatever it is. I'm just feeling things about John Moxley, and I feel so happy that I am. Makes me feel better about wrestling full stop, that I care what John Moxley's up to. But the Derby stuff, I think I'm higher on his performance than used to. I don't think he was responding to nothing. I think he was being gaslit from the off. And
he's angry about what he did to Daniels.
It was a bit of a...
The problem was...
All right, mate.
Yeah. It got way more convoluted later on, which is a problem, but I guess we'll get to that because even the convoluted stuff resulted in a pretty cool outcome. So they've kind of gotten away with one there. And maybe that's something else I want to say about this.
Do you want to talk about that now? We'll talk about it straight afterwards.
Yeah.
Do it in a weird order, yeah.
Because that's probably going to inform what I'm about to say about this. I would describe, there was an element of this promo that I would describe as modern day good fed, which was John Moxley saying, hang on, Sage, right? When Punk, I reference it all the time, appears in a room suddenly with Cody Rhodes and then Kevin Owens and then so-and-so, and idiots like us drool on a podcast going, one day, like, oh my God, one day, like the face-off the first time with Cody and Roman on that SmackDown last year. Yes, thank for that. All that sort of stuff. When Moxley said, like, you're not ready to be AEW champion. One day. Moxley's going to take his shot here. Moxley's eventually going to win that title. Darby Allin's going to win that title.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I have just been shown the huge, finally, and that allows me to think now, as a Darby Allin fan, as an AEW fan, 1 year, 2 years, whatever
Stick with it, yeah.
This promo, this line, this moment, look at it, stick with it. Like, I've needed to see that for Darby Allin and see more of it in AEW for the longest time. And I got such a buzz from that single interaction of all of this was great, but the biggest picture should always be the world title. And I was just told in the moment that one day down the line, that man will beat that man. And they're bringing back that feeling of Cody and Darby.
Yeah.
With Moxley and Darby, they're basically
Moxley
doing...
Mox and Darby have a version of it as well.
Yeah, like they're
already
they're bringing it all the way back round, and it's like it's happened like at every tier within AEW. They both arrived. One's a massive star. One's on the come up. Moxley destroys him. Moxley's become like kind of the ace of AEW. Darby Allin is pretender of the throne. Mox beats him again. This time, you know, like it's feels like they're working through the gears every step of it, and I loved being teased with that more than anything else. And that's maybe where I was more forgiving of the flying the flag for AEW, because it's still more about the belt.
Yeah.
Still more about the title.
Just like they all keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Like Daniel Garcia was doing it in the program. I love AEW more than you. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up about it.
I'd still love it if the MJF tattoo was a fakie. I would love that.
You should get it removed because it's such a good idea.
Yeah. I wanted to pop for the night off you marks. Like I knew an easy way to get one. Like,
Let's do all the McGuinness stuff all in one go there, and even though it's a bit of a weird order of this show. So immediately after this, Christopher Daniels is getting chatted to about how this affects Grand Slam, and Nigel McGuinness comes in and says, I need to talk to Tony. Trust me, he's going to want to hear what I've got to say. We'll get back to the women's title eliminator and the Chris Jericho segment.
Eliminator?
Sorry, I just a bit of a moment remembering what's about to happen with Chris Jericho. Later on, anyway, Nigel McGuinness comes out to the ring. He's got a bit of paper in his hand, and he's got a lot he wants to get off his chest. He says, with Darby Allin putting his title opportunity on the line at Grand Slam against John Moxley, there's not going to be an AEW World title match, which is good news for the champion, who's probably strapped to an iron lung, gasping for air like Justin Roberts when he was choked out by his own tie. He says it's not good for AEW, though.
Never fails to find a reason to portray Danielson as a hypocrite.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
he's in a hospital. He's still a baddie.
Yeah.
I'm
really capitalising on this, but he's still the baddie. You know what I mean?
He says it's not good news for AEW. As a former world champion myself, I think he should have a champions match at Grand Slam. And he's got this bit of paper. He says, talking about how many years he's had to watch Bryan Danielson's career having success that should have been mine. He says he's afraid of me, basically. And he's afraid of the one match that everyone wants to see. But Tony Khan isn't afraid. He knows a money match when he sees one.
That's why I love AEW.
He says, at Grand Slam, it will be Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness. And he guarantees that at Arthur Ashe Stadium, Oasis are going to play him to the ring. But will Danielson join him with the final countdown? Or will it be the final match of the American Coward? That's what he does at the end.
They try to do everything here. And I would argue, as convoluted as this is, the amount of logic gaps that there are, and I'm a pedantic stickler for them, I think that this was... You could do one detail missing from this, and it kind of makes sense. I reckon it makes a bit of sense as it is. It's just you're questioning certain characters.
Should Darby just not ask for the match back?
Well, that's not really my problem with it. But I can understand why, because it's so many different factors that I can understand with people having a problem with every one of them, a few of them, one of them. For me, the big problem here is they need to sell tickets for Arthur Ashe. Mm-hmm. So they are telling you, it's happening, lads. Like, here's a graphic, buy a ticket. I wonder what this looks like if they've already sold 20,000.
Yeah.
Or if they haven't made pretty idiotic decision to go back. And everyone knew what was happening. If you look at the trends of going back even to smaller buildings that they can make look a bit better, that's the trend. They shouldn't have booked it. They better themselves, and there's, is it foolish or brave or whatever? Different conversation. If they've got a really good attendance banked for Arthur Ashe Stadium for Grand Slam 2024, right? What if this is just sort of left as this thing where, like, Danielson's pretty much 99% out, sorry. So they do the story of Darby will go, right, okay, well, I want to fight you, John, for gaslighting me. It looks like there's no chance of Danielson, so, all right, okay, later date, I'll put the title shot on the line. Then McGuinness comes out and basically berates and belittles Danielson out of the hospital bed. Like, it would have just been done, but McGuinness is such a prick that he's been willed out of it.
Yeah.
And then on the collision before, he comes out and says, this is stupid, I should be recuperating, but you've annoyed me so much. And they announce it last second. That's how you maybe get around the fact that Darby and Moxley are treating Danielson like he's completely not involved and he's not cleared.
And you'll be another week more excited about their match.
Yeah, and Tony Khan has just thingied it. Nice, he's fine. If he can make it, we've made the match graphic. You know how these things
the graphic
work.
has a little asterisk, doesn't it? Yeah.
But they've made the graphic, I wonder if they've just said, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough or whatever. It's just they need to sell tickets for Grand Slam. Maybe that's generous. Maybe that is generous. Darby, has he been stupid here? And a bit. Has he been too? Yeah, he has. Has he been too stupid to make you lose credibility in his character?
No, because his match, 10 seconds of a match wins it back.
Yeah, no.
Like he's got that dreadful, hey, I'm in the title match, whoa!
This is like the opposite end of the extreme.
Yeah, like he's had those moments before.
He said woohoo.
Yeah, match wins you
Homer
back.
Simpson.
It's
If anything, it's like Bart. Just skateboard.
Picturing, when he skates over the car at the credits, like Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Thing's car.
He would jump the gorge.
He would.
Probably
What awesome outcome. Like, aside from, I think there's problems with how they arrived at this. What an awesome outcome. This is the match everybody wanted. And wrestling does this sometimes, doesn't it? You're like years and years and years of a campaign. We want this. We want this. We want this.
Not like this.
Not like this. Not like this. It's like, this happens a lot.
Hey, hello, I'm Alex Abrahantes. We're coming up with loads of bangers on this.
Sing along, everybody. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. This Arthur Ashe
Please
card,
don't make it a thing.
they've just ripped it up and started
Big
again.
sign next time. Birthday present for Sige. Hey.
Hello.
I want different signs, not when it spells out words.
HEYHELLO.
Wasn't it?
IT apostrophe S.
I can't remember.
We changed it already. Wasn't it like, it's Alex Abraham.
It's a remix. We did a remix.
He's
We
got
did a
multiple
remix
songs.
and it's fine.
He's so over. He's got multiple songs.
Yeah.
It's a remix of the first song.
They've changed Arthur Ashe and it's better. And they want us to flog tickets. Yeah. I can't wait for the show.
I don't know. It's too
Because
much.
hello, it's Miz and Morrison.
Yeah, that was it.
Was it Dolly Parton
Hey.
who wrote
Same week.
9 to 5 and Jolene?
Yeah, same week.
Jeez. A match.
Oh, I've just taken care of my whole life.
Yeah.
That must be pretty awesome.
Now
Wasn't
she's
it?
just met a
People
match.
say. Right, moving on. Sorry.
That's a joke.
People say he's just a 4-letter D word. Huh?
So we got to go back in time now.
Oh, God, I'm exhausted. I haven't even got to bury an FTR yet.
I ain't no songwriter, but I am an Iron Man every week.
Checking my notes here.
Iron Man. I believe that was the theme tune of the old Road Warriors. Ever heard of them? Tag team motherfucking wrestling.
It was the women's title eliminator next.
Me and Cash, little kids dressing up as a powers of pain.
That's at least rigging the matches now, if you can see it.
I refuse to acknowledge demolition, those phony ass fakers. Ain't that right, Brett?
X always took care of me, you know.
I love the X and Smash and Crush, big guy. Watched him when he got out with Fuji in '94.
Mariah May versus Queen Aminata.
All of these broadly.
Yeah.
Everything
I feel like Dax always works.
everything we're referencing. Like it all.
Yeah.
Internet makes you a dickhead.
Big forearms early on here.
That's a
Aminata.
lesson Dax Howard should have learned.
Aminata.
Is it not?
It is.
It's called spade a spade here, eh?
If anything, I wanted to be a dickhead on a podcast more. But,
Aminata misses a hip attack in the ropes. So May chokes her, kisses her on the cheek, and hits a drop kick to the back, and then a knee lift on the apron to take us to a break. When we come back, May hits a missile drop kick. Aminata fights out the corner, though, hits a snap suplex and a release German that really folds up Mariah May. Aminata hits a punt kick right to her face for a 2 count, but May gets out of a powerbomb, hits a draping DDT for a near fall. Aminata fights back, but missed the double stomp off the top, and May hit her with a running drop kick and a Storm Zero for the 1-2-3. Post-match, she grabs her mic and does the Tony Storm rolling around the ring, saying she still hasn't had her women's championship celebration. Something's missing. Someone is missing. Mina Shirakawa, please come back.
Yeah, and that's the Grand Slam match, I think. So that's good. But on this evidence, it's going to have to be because Mariah May is world champion is not it.
weird this, because I love the match and it isn't addressing the problem, is it?
I liked the match without loving it. I would have loved it if there was any heat. And I don't know
Yeah.
what's responsible for the lack of heat, whether it's Mariah May not being it as this world champion caliber performer / character. Like, we know she's got the goods in the ring, and we know she's definitely got something, but it's not clicking at this level. It's people forget what a jump it is. How many times have you gone back and thought, this wrestler should be in the main event?
Mm-hmm.
And it's only 5 years from now you realize, I'm so glad that wrestler was not in the main event, Dolph Ziggler. That sort of thing. You know?
Well, you can see it now when a wrestler figures it out. Swerve Strickland, I would say.
Yes.
Like the first couple of weeks, and then him fighting for his spot a little bit, and like turning the corner with
He himself
the company,
admits-
but he himself saying like, I need
He,
to
hims-
tweak
he
this, so.
himself admits that the promo that sparked it all, as great as the line was, I want that spot that you don't even want.
Yeah.
Go back and watch it. Strickland himself says it's bad. At the time, it was there's lack of composure. It's a big spot. Talking for that long, you forget how few people do that on a wrestling TV show. So I don't know if it was just people not really buying Mariah at this level, which is a really hard level to execute. Like, I hate to do I'm old, kid, I know more than you. You get to 38 and you realize it's hard at this level. I've never been on it. I'm not a wrestler, but it's only...
I just meant living as a 38, 39-year-old. It's just
That is hard.
That is
Yeah.
hard. We're on 30.
You get to my age, you see him come, you see him go. But it's true.
Yeah.
You do see him come, you do see him go. And for me, Mariah May, not yet not yet. Maybe in a couple of years, it's too soon, kid.
She's got like 3-4 more wrestler primes to even
Yes.
I know.
sort of unveil about her career as well.
barely even
Like,
a
she's
critique.
flying in that respect, yeah.
It's barely even a critique.
Because the work, I think, is good to great most weeks out of her.
Yeah.
And it just isn't the problem with this run, is it? The matches are not the easy bit. That's not even fair either.
No, but I know what you mean.
A match is not going to get Mariah May to where she needs to be.
And Aminata, unfortunately, because she's one of the most promising ones, is in the graveyard. And what I mean by that is there are plots for Tay Conti, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, we'll like you, you've got promise, you can lose on TV to get some reps, and somebody else, because there's only one women's match. She's in that plot now where she looked the business at the start of the year. And yeah, she's doing stuff in ROH, but no one watches it. So when you get to an arena for a Dynamite with a far more casual Converse audience, you get that reaction of, oh, her again. And then the momentum's gone, the buzz is gone, and she gets no heat because no one receives her as a star or someone important. And it's sad because she rules, but you could hear a rat piss on cotton during this match. This is what it just makes me sad. Honestly, the women's division makes me sad, and this is one of those examples of it.
Sky Blue's just done it as a
Sky
face
Blue.
and a heel. Like, she's injured
Yeah.
and now she's back as a babyface. She's done it as a babyface and a heel.
Yeah, Sky Blue.
Because it was like, well, I
This
tried
graveyard-
as a face, so I'll turn heel. I'll
There's
do your
a-
House of Black stuff. Did it again.
There's a lot of wrestlers in this graveyard, I'm telling you now.
But you mentioned there, Sid, it was the only women's match on the show. Before we get to the name of the game, we have to get to the aim of the game.
God, I'm so exhausted. The aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note for the first entrance team for the first women to appear for the only women's match on Dynamite. And as we've just discussed, having one women's match on Dynamite is completely detrimental to the actual careers of a lot of the members of this women's division. And we labor on this every single week to put in bold, italicize, and underscore that this needs to change. Otherwise, Amanata in 2026 is going to be kind of a nobody, no offense. She's got all the talent in the world, and there should be more time on this television program with which to really bring that talent on and develop that experience. And it's usually at a certain time slot where you think, hang on, are they just putting the women out here because they feel like they have to? But don't worry, the real meat of the real meat of the thing, the men are coming out later. And you think that's a mouthful and it's cynical. Well, it's been proven all over again last night. Can you jinglize this, Sidgwick? Bloody hell, I sure can. Don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. That's the aim of the game. And the name of the game is, well, this is ladies' night, and I'm thinking, not another nighter.
Shout as always to...
I was a bit sad watching this because I could foresee Amanata's future.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, don't. She's class. Don't let it happen to her. So a bit of a downbeat one, but you know what? Maybe it shouldn't be a party.
It wasn't a new song, it was a remix. We've already had the song with a remix.
I did 3, and Dolly Parton just did 2.
Shout out to the Panda Blair himself, Adam Blair at Adam
So
Wilson
who's
4,
better?
and Jose Palomares at the Whole 11, the guys who always take care of the...
I've got your kids, who's better than me or Dolly Parton? Yeah.
Sidge, do you want to run through our guesses in descending?
Descending?
I don't know.
Never know.
Never
gonna
know,
learn.
man.
No.
I ain't never going to learn. Never. Wait there. So I've got any messages to go through. Google, myself for notes, wife, Sky, my telephone provider.
Putting the prices up, are they? Everyone is. Bloody hell.
No, just telling us I've used. Hello. You've used most of your Sky mobile data this month. It's only the 12th.
Jeez.
A bank for a verification code for an online payment. Google for a 2-step authentication.
Mm-hmm.
My bank. A scammer saying that my every package was not delivered.
Just click on this link.
Yeah. What can possibly go wrong?
And a juicy one. And then barber just telling me that I've got a hair appointment, and obviously that was a while ago. So, yeah, most of my social stuff's on WhatsApp. But in descending order...
Hi, the texts are a bit of a women's division graveyard now, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
You're not getting many in the shoot texts.
I'll go on WhatsApp and I'll show you I've got loads of pals.
Last 104 WhatsApps.
Last message I received was my son's under 10 soccer team group chat. Forget this game. We're playing another
Your son's
game.
too jacked.
He's too jacked, man. He's going to go to an MMA. Descending order,
Yeah.
I think. Michael Sidgwick, no hours, 37 minutes, 43 seconds. Michael Hamflett, 1 hour, 10 minutes, 10 seconds. Adam Wilborn, 1 hour, 18 minutes and 21.
Hamflett almost getting it this week. It was 1 hour, 8 minutes and 33 seconds.
And that's the point of the game, right? We can almost nail it down to the hour, minute.
Hour, minute and second.
Nearly got there.
All the italicized underscore.
Hamflett
Like
moves on to 6 correct guesses on the year. Sidgwick 3, me 9. More on this next week until they change it. So following that, we had the Young Bucks backstage talking about how they wanted to have the greatest tag team division of all time when they started AEW, but 5 years later, they're still doing the heavy lifting. They hear whispers of the fans wanting a new team to take over their tag team division, but no one's good enough to beat them. And they look forward to the Casino Gauntlet. Good luck to the challengers. You'll need it. We'll be out there watching it live. We see a video package highlighting the return of Jamie Hayter, and then I'm the Learning Tree. Oh, good. Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith versus the Iron Savages. Jericho's wrestling in his orange juice jacket. He slaps Boulder. Boulder nails him with a punch, and he's like, I'm out of here. Brings in Big Bill, who has a nice face-off with him. Boulder hit a corner splash, but took too long. Missed the second. Bill hit one of his own. Big boot. Brings in Brian Keith with a blind tag. Jack Jameson tags in. headbutt from Keith, hits the diamond dust, and then Jericho's like, tag me, comes in, puts his boot on him, and gets the 1-2-3.
I'm going to get the post-match.
Okay.
That's what it existed for.
You know what?
You don't see that pin, the old cocky pin from the game. You don't actually see that as a finish.
I tell you what, if there was any affection whatsoever towards Chris Jericho, it would have been almost sweet that he finally did it, you know?
Come on, baby.
Yeah, it would have been almost, it's a nice bow and give toss.
So post-match, he grabs the mic, talks about his jacket being ruined, which is why, like you said earlier, he stole Orange Cassidy's backpack, and he pulls out a picture from inside of it. It's him with his best friends, Chris Statlander, and he says, you're still obsessed with friendship.
You loved that callback, didn't you, Hamfler?
What's that? Best friends.
Callback, yeah.
I was just thinking it's so weird that he's got just have it on your phone.
A framed photo he carries around with him.
It's wrestling,
It's
isn't
wrestling.
it?
You got to illustrate stuff. Haven't you?
You got to be dumb in wrestling.
Like that makes me less of Orange Cassidy. Oh, it's in here. It's like you're not using carry bags.
You know what I think this is meant for?
Photo.
You know, I think this is meant for. One, it's a prop.
Yeah.
You have to be stupid to watch wrestling, and I am. So, I think maybe they wanted people to make the Wolverine meme.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With Cassidy's face imposed on it,
And he's going to hit
or like bring it to
Nice.
mind.
It's getting
anyway.
smashed over some
He's
of
going
that
to
as
hit
well.
him.
isn't it?
That as well. It's all wrestling. It all happens all the time. Every single week it happens.
He
Just
says,
described Jericho's thought process out there. Wait a minute, a better idea. Put it in a frame.
It's visual, you know.
Hit a guy.
he says, Cassidy, you're still obsessed with friendship. There are no friends in wrestling. If you think you've got friends, you're being used. A little look from Big Bill there, which I liked.
Yeah.
Get your hands out of your pockets, get your head out of your ass, and pay me my money. And then Orange Cassidy appears on the big screen. He says, I don't have your cash, unfortunately, but my friends do. And then
They've inexplicably acquired to use
so excited for this announcement.
to use John Moxley in the 29 G1 talked about his WWE experience, how stupid the creative was, through the lens of one of his promos, saying, ahead of a match with Toru Yano, saying, I'm going to inexplicably, a strangely comedic vehicle that I've inexplicably acquired, right, and go to your house and whatever. He was taking the piss out of Dean Ambrose. The conglomeration inexplicably acquired a comedic vehicle from what? The revelation that the car was there?
At the point
They
at which
think,
Jericho
right,
rises in the
they
building.
only established tonight as
They
well.
only established tonight that he's got a new car over which he's really sort of protective and he seems to enjoy, right? So they thought, right, what we should do is get a digger. Was it?
Yeah.
Like a digger.
That's what we'd say. If my son's
something-
pushing it around, it's a digger.
JCB.
Yeah. JCB.
I don't know
Yeah.
what they call it in
I
America.
think there's something loader or something.
A loader. That's
Yeah,
probably
Liz-
what they
Liz
call
Locky
it.
would have called it a JCB, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah.
A load. They get the loader.
Front loader.
The loader.
Kurt Loader.
Should we get a loader just in case he's going to ask for the money after his squash match? Which is he having a squash? I was just watching the show and it's come up in the left-hand corner of the screen, so probably. Chris Jericho needs to be stopped. He trivializes this show with his, hey, it's showbiz. Huh? You can't just have 5-star matches all the time, right, guys? You need the showbiz. Dude, I need good showbiz. I only this in my life. It's absolutely stupid. And it gets worse.
So, yeah.
Like your usual Orange Cassidy bit. But this guy is somebody that owns like a digger company. He's friends with this guy.
So, yeah, Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly are driving a digger, and they have $7,000 worth of pennies in there that they pour into Chris Jericho's Bentley, which has no effect whatsoever.
It's not enough pennies.
You're expecting it to do the Corvette.
Yeah.
And it just sort of slides off.
Buy more pennies.
Just get.
I don't know what bucket for, wasn't it? That's what we were
options.
saying.
Two options. One, get loads more pennies. Or two, if you're thinking at last minute, we don't have enough pennies, you got two options, pals. One, don't do the rubbish segment that everyone's going to mock, but, Tony Khan's feckless, so he's not going to say no to Chris Jericho, okay? Number two, right, drive the loader
Yes.
in the direction of the windshield. So try and get them all to go on the windshield, so you at least get a
Kind of fill the car.
or a
smash the
crack.
Yeah.
All I want in my life is a crack.
I thought, you know what I thought they were going to do? It's not really calling an audible. It's very different, this. But, they did it, and I went, Is that it? Like, I'm expecting something to happen, and they all just go, and I go, that's going to be a pain to get out of the, like, gaps in the seats and stuff, but it's not really too much. It's not the end. It's not going to cause Chris Jericho to have a breakdown. Oh, no, it is. But, like you say, if you don't get that satisfying, because that's what you really wanted, or, like, it'd be nice to, like, fill up the seats, but that's going to take loads. I was like, if that doesn't work, just lower the bucket that you've got onto the windscreen. That'll shatter. Didn't happen, though.
No.
Sad audio-visual experience, this.
Oh, it was funny.
That's what I was thinking.
It was funny. It was funny.
Do you
It
wanna-
was funny. One thing I'll say very quickly is that a show needs range. And I'm not saying, right, in the wake of All Out, everything must be ultra-violent and serious. A show needs range. Of all shows, AEW needs range. Maybe park this one for a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gently introduce it's not all... Like, there's some levity, guys. Come back. Maybe park this one for a week. Maybe park Chris Jericho's latest stupid Attitude Era pilled idea for 1 week.
Establish he got the Bentley this week and just do it next week. Because, like...
Maybe, Wilborn. You're onto something. Tony Khan will never learn.
No.
It wasn't even all bad.
I mean, you learn how to book some absolutely phenomenal stuff. The pacing of it all, you'll never get that. I've given up hope on that.
The argument is they're hiding the Big Bill turn within all this.
Yes.
As nonsense as this is not exactly Wardlow breaking out during the Punk MJF thing, but they're hiding the Big Bill turn in this complete frippery. However, the post-match, the post-Dynamite thing, it didn't even air on Dynamite, I swear has happened. If you've not seen this on X, we talked about this morning, I swear is because Tony Khan's gone. Chris made that look. And he's like, don't worry, I'll save it. I'll save it, TK. I got this. I'm an old pro. And they film a follow-up thing where it's Jericho running to the back. The camera crew is still there stationed by the car. Big Bill's like, get the cameras away, but we get to see it anyway. And Jericho's just devastated.
I've already seen everything.
What's the phrase? My beautiful Bentley, something like that. He's like,
Not the Bentley.
Not the Bentley. And Big Bill is trying to say, yeah, but Learning Tree, you've told us that like physical objects don't mean anything. He's like, shut up, but like, you don't know what you're talking about. So he's a complete hypocrite. And all this is Big Bill seeing Jericho for who he is. As we did before all this started. And Big Bill would have done 6 months ago because he was really cool and smart.
Yeah.
And Brian Keith, as is always the way, does a really funny line
Yeah.
about the Bentley. Jericho's like, I'll have that actually, and then does a worse job of delivering the line while crying over the car. And you just
And smearing the
He's moving the coins around
to scratch his car a bit.
oh no, the damage hasn't done yet. But it is now done.
Whoa, I've slipped on the coins. The windscreen's through now.
On top of everything else, that's a problem. And it's Chris Jericho. It's like the rot. You can't grow anything from those roots. You know what I mean?
Tree stuff.
Tree stuff. So it's...
Daisy clearly like that, by the way.
There's stuff that's
Oh no, the
heating up.
soundboard and laptop.
There is stuff that's heating up in AEW, but outside of what mercifully Chris Jericho's purview, like they're not going to say, "I can I have a match with Danielson." No. The one thing where it's like that's an organic, cool thing that people like, and it's a conglomeration in that AEW mid card, and Jericho's gone. I'll have some of that, please.
Whilst I'm waiting around for my Ricochet feud.
Oh God.
Anyway, moving
I've
on.
already done the joke, haven't I? So. The guy's lost a step versus Chris Jericho. He was good, man. He's good. Just not Kenny Omega.
Hook offers out Roderick Strong any time and place. A little vignette. And then we get to the main event. The Young Bucks sitting out on the stage for this casino gauntlet for the tag title shot. Out first. Kyle Fletcher and Will Osprey and FTR to start us off. Fun opening sequence from those. Osprey tries for a Hurricane Run and just gets chucked in the air by Wheeler. Howard catches him with a bounce back powerbomb. It's really nice, that. Fletcher hits a Michinoku driver on Harwood. Osprey moonsaults off his back for 2. There's a flying lariat from Wheeler that sent Fletcher crashing outside. Harwood cuts off Osprey in the corner, hits the powerplex for a 2 count. Number 3 is righteous. Vincent and Dutch, who come in and run wild.
Covers as well.
Remember them?
We've got a studio album brewing on this podcast.
We've got a studio with which to make it.
Big Boss Man slam by Dutch.
Get that on Spotify just in time for Christmas.
Fletcher hit a half and half and a diving cutter on Dutch for 2. The Kingdom are the 4th ones out. They take us to a break, beating up Osprey. After that, we come back and the Acclaimed are the 5th team out there. They have a little moment with the Bucks before going down to the ring. Bowens and Caster clean house. Famouses on Harwood, 2 of them actually. And then the real stars start coming in. MXM collection. They do a great pose. They run wild on everyone. They're about to touch tips.
Oh my god.
The Acclaim cut them off. And we get a quadruple suplex spot to take us to a break. Top Flight is 7th. They come in and fly around. Dutch gets spiked by a pop-up DDT.
Like the pilots they are.
I love when you go accidental partner.
Yeah.
It's absolutely great. Trivializing absolutely everything.
Dante and Osprey.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
Dante and Osprey have a nice moment. Osprey hits a wall walk enziguri, and Dante backflipped into a head scissors. Bowens runs wild for a bit, and he turns right into a shatter machine. You think FTR are about to win it, and then literally everyone who's not involved in the pinfall dive in to break it all up. There's bodies strewn everywhere. Time for the real stars to come out. The Outrunners come out. A huge pop. The 80s
The biggest
back.
pop of the night. It was, wasn't it? Other than maybe Ricochet.
Nah, it was bigger pop than that, I think.
It
And
was.
they've got like roots there, haven't they, through friggin' OVW.
OVW.
Yeah, so like there's
Youngest man alive.
indeed. You like nowhere near the prime.
Lovely this.
T-shirts out
Lovely
the
this.
ass at the moment. As
Lovely.
Well.
Yeah.
Having a moment. It's class.
They get in there. Everyone slowly rises to their feet, and they just take all of them out. They are, like you say, hugely over here, and they hit that awesome Predator elbow drop thing of theirs. Slingshot dive onto
Flexing and
Righteous.
pausing.
I love that. I mean, didn't do it in sync, but who cares?
Yeah, I don't, like you say, it's Stone Cold Stomps, isn't it? I don't care.
It's just a vibe.
Yeah.
Just a vibe.
Now it's time for you two to grit your teeth, because the Grizzly Young Vets are 9th.
You
but-
used to like them.
They were your favourite.
I do, and I'm a bit annoyed that they've just sort of gone,
They've gone from WWE to AEW, and now they've become caricatures.
what? Just because that's stupid, let's do 2 back-to-back things. And I'm annoyed that they've just gone, just do GYV FTR on Collision, probably. I was like, no, put it
Don't
on.
worry, pal. Hey, don't worry, pal. When the first FTR match comes out to play, 2 out of 3 falls ain't far away.
FTR
I don't know
run,
much about jingle houses. I ain't Michael Sidgwick from England, but
I know a lot about 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
FTR run up the ramp and they roll
what's
off.
tequila like in that country of yours, Mr. Bean looking ass?
Well, I just got the gimmick with the old hat there because it's cheap and I use it for a margarita.
Yeah.
But I do like a nice tequila with ice to sip on occasion, but not so much that I've got a big time.
That was the one for me. I had 10 in one night because I was being cocky at 18. Spewed it
About
all
a
up.
week ago, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, spewed it all up. I haven't been
Got
able
a
to go
mate
back.
like that as well.
Yeah.
I can't.
Trigger
Sammy
point
B
thing.
for me.
A mate and a
Yeah,
colleague.
Lucas.
So, well, good mates. Pretty close.
So those bars went in the uni years where it was like trebles for £1, 5 shots for £3. Well, all right, is that how we do it? Is that what,
Yeah.
is that what drinking is? All right.
Anyway,
I wonder if you make it past. Hey, you just turn 18 much? It's like you go to a party. It's like, hey, dickhead, here's what you got in for your life. We have a top shelf tradition, or we used to in the Ingram land. It's like a shot of everything. Put it in one glass and drink it now, or else you're a bitch. So it's like it's initiation. And I'll drink the stupid drink. Okay, yeah, I'm going to be violently ill. Make a spectacle of myself.
And if you play rugby, back in the glass.
yeah.
yeah, no, thank you.
Something like that.
Anyway, GYV and
I think I just
FTR.
refuse.
Yeah,
I was like, I think I could just not do this. We'll still be mates on Monday.
Aloysius' job had that. Like you get like your first deal, and they're like dirty pint. I was like, some people there are like. They're all in their 30s, right? And if someone said, right, dirty pint, you just go, no.
That's
I've got stuff I want to do this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know. Send a few texts. Turn things around a bit.
Anyway.
Just trebles bars.
Yeah.
That was a time.
I know.
Just trebles bars.
Yeah.
Want to half kill yourself? Yeah, yourself in £3. Try it yourself. The hospital.
Push a button and it's half price.
Yeah. You gotta miss that. The pass was bad.
People in earlier. So GYV and FTR brawl off to the Nutter Center for Collision tonight, which we'll talk about over the weekend. Anyway.
Free on the button was like, you'd get another round. If you hit the button on free.
Still on this.
If you got free on the button, you're like, well, I'll have the same again then. 4 drinks.
Like him at the Christmas party. Do you remember? It was like £5 spend minimum. So he'd come back with like 6 drinks. It's like you could have bought 2 drinks. That'd be more than fine.
Yeah, but this way I've got more drinks.
Just coming out with a tray. Who are they for? Me.
Minimum spend was £5. How much was around? £24.
It was that, wasn't it?
Do you want treble gin?
I'm so excited for the Christmas party again.
Oh, I want it on a Friday, you know. The tradition is we do it on a Thursday. I might be ready to take the day off, you know.
You like your stinking wrestle culture, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I can't be honest with you.
Anyway, everyone's piling up on the floor, and Floyd and Mansoor do the superplex spot onto all of them. And then the Outrunners hit their running double team. And I think, oh, Mike, for a split second, I genuinely thought, oh, my God, we're getting the Young Bucks versus the Outrunners. And I thought, you could do that for just a one night. Oh, my God. Remember when, like, Breezango fought for the tag titles?
Yep.
I was like, and I was into that, obviously, as well. They've got the match won, and Vincent gets involved. No. Breaks it up. Huge boos from everyone. And then it just goes mental. Darius does a big dive onto the pile. Shotgun dropkick back inside. Dante, snap Hurricane Rana pin. Gets Fletcher, tries a top rope crossover splash, but Fletcher gets the knees up, and then Osprey just takes his head off with a hidden blade. 1, 2, 3. Will Osprey and Cal Fletcher are the number 1 contenders.
I've got many thoughts on this. Not all of them positive. Should we go negative then positive? No, it'll take us too long. I'll forget the positives. Positives first. Positives first, okay. Actually, the first thing I want to bring up, right, bear with me for a 1-minute detour.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many of you listen to our NXT coverage, but this week we were previewing a match on NXT TV between NXT Tag Team Champions Nathan Fraser and Axiom. No! The other champions, yeah.
When I'm cleaning windows.
Street Profits, who were from WWE's main roster, and we're thinking, oh, God, who wins this? Is there a title switch? Or do they just beat like a really established main roster team? I've had this epiphany of, it's WWE. They're probably just doing interference and a DQ, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know what we should have done?
What?
Similar to that, which is why I bring it up. When we were previewing it yesterday, do we think, do they debut a new tag team? Do they go for like a novelty run for the Outrunners and there's a lot of emotional weight and it's nice for one night? Or does a tag team return from injury? Or do they get a free agent? We should have thought, I'll probably just put 2 people together.
We did say that.
Yeah.
We formed a team on yesterday's
did.
preview. We nailed it.
We did nail it.
Not exactly the right team, but still.
We should have, if we're taking it earnestly.
Yeah, yeah.
But we didn't think about it earnestly, but we should have. Right, this match was 3 things. Completely mid as hell and a bit of a self-own of the division. Like, way too yuck laughs and only pretty good in parts. Osprey and Dante Martin was cool. Not quite enough to get me to push the oh my God button, but quite cool. I'll tell you what as well. Like, the Young Bucks do this, and I love them for it, where mid-match, they did a lot of Dynasty. It makes so much more sense in the context of a ladder match. They talk each other through, should we do this? They pretend in the middle of a ladder match, which is really crucial and really cool and really intelligent, that they are not, we plan this in the back. So
Which of the 10 moves shall we do?
Yeah.
We've got loads for this situation.
Yeah.
We've got just the thing.
Yeah. They'll come out and go, you put that ladder there, and they'll do that in the middle of the match to make it seem like it's real, and they're improvising because you can't really plan for this sort. So they're really, really good at that. God love him. Will Ospreay was trying to do this with Cal Fletcher. Did you notice during the match? Yeah. Go, Carl! I'll do this. You do that. You know. So that was inadvertently funny, but well intentioned. Okay,
Will Osprey, the wrestling coach. You do this. I'll do that. We'll have a match. Brilliant. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, but I appreciated the effort, but it just came across a little bit funny to me, a little bit amusing. I love the Outrunners.
Yes.
That was great. Elsewhere, this was just it's a bit of a joke, this division, isn't it?
They saved this match, for me. Like his work aside from like Osprey and Fletcher and their top flight. I was just like, oh no, they've killed the Casino Gauntlet.
Yeah, elsewhere this had the opposite of the intended effect. I think it was, let's give this a shot in the arm and show what we've got. This needed to be great. Otherwise, it was like, oh, this division's kind of in the gutter. And because it wasn't great, my reaction was, oh, this division's kind of in the gutter. I will say this as well. This FTR GYV thing, we previewed it. We knew what was going to happen. When FTR came out first, I almost threw my controller across the room.
I hadn't thought so.
Like, how many more long stints in one match does Dax Harwood need to do? Like, I'm serious. It's becoming a problem now. They got next to no pop. They've never been less over in AEW. People are sick of them doing the epic long match formula. And that it becomes, the matches become so self-conscious. They've gone from absolutely since they got really over in AEW, because it's a bit of a shaky start. They've gone from absolutely incredible matches to this might be the most overact in the entire promotion. That's how good and hot they were.
Put all the belts on them.
Yeah. And then to still good, still really good, still great mostly. This match is getting a bit long for long's sake. To now, it's like they're chasing that dragon. It's so desperate and self-conscious, and it's not working. And they think, oh, if we just go longer and harder. It's like God, it's so self-conscious and transparent and more to the point, boring as sin at this point. When they came out first, I was like, of course, Dax, of course you've come out first. If you booked your own promotion, you'd come out the Royal Rumble one every single year. Am I alone in this?
No. They never got it back once they weren't as over as they were, ultimately. And it was because of
now it's more.
Yeah, it's an overcorrection. Yeah, this was just, it's like the weak Royal Rumbles. You often have weak Royal Rumbles because you've got a weak roster or you've got weak booking. And this was kind of a case of both, wasn't it?
The 1995 Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it was the exact example I had in mind. Like
with Shawn and Bulldog. Like FTR and Osprey and Fletcher. That was actually really good.
Yes.
You know, to be fair to FTR, that was really strong stuff.
Yeah. So you've got like the safety net wrestlers in there, but this is the weakest version of the gauntlet because it's an exhibition of the weakest division and one can't quite elevate the other. And it was, maybe you can call it a noble failure if you're being generous. Perhaps.
I think it was, maybe they got what they deserved. Maybe they got what they deserved.
You don't want to put this sort of stuff in your shop window, I don't think.
Apart from if it's the Outrunners. Belt them up for me.
It's their first proper...
We got first bar.
Like AEW roster moment with a capital M, and it might actually lead to something. They're selling T-shirts out the ace. And
yeah.
There might be something really...
Undefeated streak's not over, by the way, because they didn't get pinned.
Correct, yep.
But yeah, that was this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. Let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Well, actually, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, as I said. Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from, for daily wrestling podcasts. But for now, it's been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.